We're gonna have some fun by ranking all of my platinums on PlayStation. So I have about 50 here, and we're just gonna basically rank them based on like, was the platinum very difficult? Was the platinum just, hard but not insane? Was it fine? Was it just a little grindy, or was it just like I didn't think about it? So to start off, we'll probably just go in chronological order here with Assassin's Creed Origins. This one I played a while ago. I just remember it being just more of like a typical Assassin's Creed game with the new RPGs. As far as it was pretty simple, straightforward to get, but there's just so much to do. So I would easily put that into easy but grindy. Because it just took me forever, but there was nothing challenging about it. None of the combat was or anything. Alright, moving onward to Arkham Knight right here. Now, this game's one of my favorite games of all time. I recently just got the 3 Community Challenge Pack trophies, which if you know what those are, you know what they require. But those aren't obviously aren't required to platinum, but I will be factoring them into my platinum experience. And I can say Arkham Knight, my bad, is probably gonna sit in the hard difficulty slot because those DLC trophies, mainly. If not, I'd probably go in the mid, but it's one of my favorite games of all time. Time and Night was a blast getting the platinum. Astro's Blade, I'm just going the free because it's that basic PlayStation game you get. Nothing more to be said there. Alright, Cyberpunk 2077, another one of my favorite games of all time. I would say this game platinum wise, I mean, would probably go into the mid difficulty. I play on hard, not very hard, and still wasn't that much of a challenge. So there was no real trophy that stuck out to me as like this is really difficult. It can get a little grindy with those NCPD dispatch missions. But if you're not like me and you did them throughout your initial playthrough, they aren't that bad. So I'd probably still put that in mid instead of just easy. Next we have Doom Eternal. I went on a little bit of a Doom streak when I played these two games. From what I remember from the Eternal is it was all pretty. Nothing was too bad getting all the trophies or anything. Because I mean, you just play the game, use a guide to get the collectibles if you can't find them all on your first run, like me. I would never say there was anything challenging. I would just say the multiplayer trophies were a little annoying to get, but not grindy. It only took me like 5-10 hours. Probably going mid. Doom basically felt the same thing, just minus the multiplayer trophies, because they were much easier. You just have to play like the editor for a little bit. So I would as well put that in the mid category. All right, next we have Elden Ring right here. Now this was a very early platinum for me. Yeah, it's somewhere early. And it took me a while to actually get through the game itself, because Elden Ring is not an easy game, especially because it was my first introduction to the Souls genre, which I have now come to love. So I do owe it some respect. But Millennia was ridiculously hard. I wouldn't put it in extremely difficult, but I'd definitely put it in hard because you could just go leave, level up, etc. Which so I did. All right, here we go. Another one of my favorite games of all time. Actually, next two games are some of my favorite games of all time. But Expedition 33, masterpiece of a game. I love it. The platinum itself, I played through the entire game on expert difficulty, and it was definitely challenging at some times. Especially obviously Simon. We all know how he is. I would probably put him in the hard slot. This game, the hard slot, it didn't make me like question my life choices. That's what extremely difficult is gonna be for. I'd probably keep it hard, like hard. I don't think it's mid because of the expert difficulty actually being a challenge, like tight parry timings and whatnot. So I think that's a good slot for it. God of War Ragnarok. Alright, this is my personal pick of Game of the Years on the side instead of Elden Ring. Really upset when it didn't win, but I love this game a lot. That said, I have played through this game multiple times and giving God of War difficulty, and it is not that challenging. So I'd probably put the Platinum in mid. Gennai and Rolf are the hardest bosses in the game, which makes sense. And they aren't too bad, only take like an hour or so. Excuse me. Alright, moving onward to Infamous Second Son. This game I played a long while ago, but obviously still have to plat for it. It's I never remembered it being a hard platinum at all, or like whatsoever. Although I don't want to put in the free category because I don't think it was that easy of a game to plat. I also wasn't too grindy. So here, let me just do this. Oh shoot! Whoops. Oh, let's go. Sure, blue. Okay, or yeah, blue there. Blue and just put this as simple. It would fall into a category like that, just simple. Ah, no, not the same color. Orange. Orange's name is hard. God dang it. Red. Gray. Sure. We'll put a little bit of variety color here. Alright, yeah, I would say it's very simple platinum, very easy. You just beeline the main story and then just do the cleanup activities and you're basically done. Alright, God of War 2018. Another great game that I played. And but I have not beaten this game. Give me God of War difficulty. I gave up. It was way too difficult for me. So I did the platinum run though on Give Me No Mercy, which is definitely still a challenge. Give Me No Mercy here is basically Give Me God of War here. So I would say it's why is free up here? What the heck? No. Down, down, down. And then I flipped you two. There we go. Okay. Took Siren, but would I say it's harder? I would say the Valkyries are harder than the Berserkers to fight. And Sigrun, of course, is just Sigrun. So I would say God of War 2018 is harder to platinum than Ragnarok because of factors such as those. But obviously, you can lower both these difficulty if you want, and you'd probably have no issue platinuming the game at all. Moving over to the first Berserker, Kazan. Now this game is a great Souls-like that I played earlier in 2025. I got it pretty close to release date. It it definitely set me off a lot of times with some of the bosses and map level design, but at the end of the day, it was a really fun game for me to play and gave me a challenge similar to Lies of P, which we'll get to later down the line. Though, when it comes to the platinum, though, it was mostly just you had to grind through all of the extra missions and find all of the collectibles in those levels, and that left me replaying certain levels multiple times because I missed something on accident. So I and then there's also some of the bosses that was actually fairly difficult. So I would probably it's probably high mid tier plat, come on, or low hard tier. I mean I can order these on I don't there's no particular order right now, but I can order them real quick. Mid tier platinum, I would say easiest would be Doom. I do that there. Then the hardest platinum on this list to get was probably, I think, once in DLC trophies for Arkham Knight, probably keep it there. Yeah, probably there. Probably that's how I'd lay it, because I'm going to slip down to top of mid, though. But great game overall, especially for Souls-like enjoyers. And, yeah. Alright, Last of Us Part 1. Now, this game has no grounded requirement, so that's definitely going to make this game a bit on the easy side. It's either easy, and I wouldn't call it grindy though. I mean, you just had to run back and get a bunch of collectibles, but it wasn't like you'd spend that doing it for like 30 hours. I would say the game can have its moments if you like, but I would also be willing to put it in simple. I don't think it's that hard of a game to play. It just has a masterpiece story. Jedi Survivor. All right, this game is it's a little iffy on my end because I played it. I luckily never got any of the glitches that other people had, like Cage not Bounty Shop not working. Initially, it was an early glitch. But I will say, running around Kobo and Jeddah was the most annoying stuff ever because of all the collectibles and stuff you had to go across. At least they had fast travel though. That was the one saving grace of this game versus Survivor or not Fallen Order was you didn't have fast travel in the game. That ruined the experience, honestly. So I would put this in grindy, but the top of grindy because it was very grindy. All the trophies, the bosses and stuff were not that bad. Like Dagon, Vader, all of them were not that challenging. Now, Lego Marvel's Avengers, all the Lego games are gonna go on either simple or free. Lego Marvel's Avengers, I think, was a pretty easy one. Like, it was basically a free play, just played the game. And that goes same for Lego Batman 3. I love Lego games are so fun to me just because of how they ignite the child in me. But they really are just free platinums at the end of the day. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now this game, I remember I already know I'm gonna play this can go in simple. Because like there's nothing too challenging about it. You just beat the main story, all the side quests, etc. And there's little challenge in it. I forget there's difficulty option, but if there was, I put on the highest one. Don't remember ever struggling really. Maybe just on like the challenge arena ones that are just like the annoying little challenges. That's the only time I really struggled. Now we get into Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, another beloved game of mine. It's my favorite Soulsborne game, just because of the combat being so nice and reliant on parries, which is part of the reason why I love Kazan up here. Sekiro's plat though, man, it was a grind towards the end. Once you get past all the bosses and all your playthroughs, you just have to grind for that max skill level stuff. So like there is a world to play it in easy but grindy, but it's obviously not an easy plat. I would say you could go, you could. There's a place to argue it's in top of mid, but I think it goes in hard because of the bosses. Although none of the bosses, other than like Demon Hatred and Sword Saint Ishin, really gave me a struggle. So I can't say like it was the hard. I can't say it's extremely difficult. I just think it was a hard plat. Skywalker Saga was easy but grindy easily. There's 1,200 bricks in that game you have to collect. Like that is absolutely absurd, and it took me so long to get, but we did it. Miles Morales is gonna go in a simple one. It's a short game. It's very simple platinum requirements. Lets you replay bases for like the miscellaneous trophies, etc. Space Marine 2, I is a great game. It really got me into the Warhammer 40k universe, and I absolutely love it. The platinum itself, though, like I can't remember really ever struggling. There's just so much miscellaneous trophies that were annoying to get, like killing the various Tyranids and stuff. Overall, I would probably put it in simple as well. It's not that hard of a platinum to get. Stray is going in the the simple category. I mean, it's just an easy game, which is a little bit monotonous task, but it's not grindy at all. What I would say. Stellar Blade is another Souls like I play and absolutely love the combat. Like it mixed action games and actual just action games with Souls like combat, and I actually loved it. I love the boss fights. The one argument you have against is like the boss seven are a little bit tanky or spongy. They're big health bars, and you're not wrong. But I love the combat so much that I didn't have to worry about it. So I would put this in the mid difficulty. It wasn't. I don't think it's as hard as like Kazan or Sekiro or anything. I'd say it's probably second hardest in mid. Actually, probably the hardest in mid. That's a lie. Lego Ninjago, like I said, Lego games just the free category. Especially this one's a really short game. Marvel Spider-Man 2. This game is probably just gonna sit comfortably in like mid, like the middest of mid games in general, and also the platinum was. You basically take these other Spider-Man games. Spider-Man 1, I'm gonna put at grindy. I just skipped ahead because this game's crimes that don't like you don't have the app to spawn a crime when you need them, so you had to sit going through every district waiting for those 20 crimes to spawn over and over again. It was so grindy and annoying. But we did, and went back to Spider-Man 2. It's a much similar game to the other ones, but like I would only put it at the hard platinum because the gameplay you argue is probably more complex and a little more difficult when the enemies introduced. Like it's still not a hard game. It's probably go bottom of mid or we'll put it top of easy but grindy. And now I'll keep it here because I won't call it grindy like these games are. Thymesia, another short Souls like. I would put this one in mid difficulty just because it's a Souls like that has really Sekiro adjacent combat. I would say I wouldn't say it's hard plot Spider-Man 2, so I'll leave it there. But it was a very fun play, just a fun little 10 hours. I remember having so much fun with it that when you had the grind for like the max level, I just remember farming the final boss over and over again because he paid out the most for me and I was able to beat him quickly. Really fun game, really cool mechanic as far as like the drain his health and make it permanent thing or state regen. I really like that. Nice little touch, forces you to adapt to both what kind of weapons you can use. Until Dawn, I'm just gonna put in free because it's a narrative game. It's a great narrative game. Let's I love the story, but it's just a really simple game. Bro. All right, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, my favorite game of all time. This I got this platinum plus all the DLCs. I would probably put this in. I played the entire game of Death March, and I vaguely and I clearly remember those first 10 to 15 hours on Death March are absolutely brutal because it is just full of you just dying and dying and dying to any like ghoul or bandit you come across. So I would probably put it bottom of hard because I don't think it's a harder plat than I mean lots of open world stuff you have to do, but you don't have to deal with the question marks. However, I did and spent so long in that boat in Skellige, it was insane. I don't I don't think it's necessarily a hard platinum, but I wouldn't call it the easiest thing in the world. You could make an argument for easy but grindy, but I'll probably just put it. It's probably a harder platinum than Cyberpunk is probably where I'd put it. I don't think it's like the hardest thing, like I said, but it is my favorite game of all time. Best narrative and stuff. I love it dearly. So hyped for The Witcher 4 when it comes out, and hopefully 2027. Alan Wake 2. This was my quote unquote spookier Halloween game for this past Halloween, and I actually loved the game a lot. Mainly the narrative. But when it came to actual gameplay platinum, I thought it was serviceable, nothing too major. So I would in the platinum itself, I would put in just simple. I think it'd probably go up here. Probably be the hardest simple platinum ever. Gameplay's not challenging, it's just you know what you have to do, and you can just enjoy the ride. Control, I played this very recently, and I actually did not like it really at all. I would say the platinum is priced like probably here. But I was not a fan of Control like I was Alan Wake 2. I don't know why. Just the story didn't click with me. I will admit the gameplay basically giving you the force was very fun, but the game overall just didn't click with me. So I would say the plan's very here because it's still a little bit of grinding, but like not a lot of grinding like these games are. All right, Batman Arkham City. Here we go. Here's another one of my favorite games of all time. Obviously, Arkham games. I do prefer Night over City if we're talking just game itself. But farming out the campaigns in this game are awful. Like there were so many matches where I had like a 30-minute Predator stealth run going, and I'd just throw it at the end because I couldn't get like the line launcher, one on like the extreme right, the line launcher and enemy onto another line launcher. I would definitely put this game. I would argue it's a harder platinum than Night, especially if you do all DLC trophies, which I haven't done, or I'd probably put this thing extremely difficult. But the platinum itself ain't too bad. Once again, just the Riddler stuff is awful. And then you also have 440 Riddler trophies you have to get, which is completely absurd, versus Knight's 243. Alright, I am happy to welcome our first extremely difficult platinum, Rise of the Ronin. This game I played it pretty close to release, and I had a great time with it, but my god, some of those boss fights and challenges were so ungodly difficult on Twilight, although it was on the hardest difficulty in the game. I have the one ingrained memory of it's endgame. You have to fight the two people. One's a spear. I think one's a spear. One is more of a close range guy, and they both fight you. They have their keyblades that makes them like they're very hard on their own. But then as soon as you take them out, the little martial arts little shit comes out at you for a secret third person you have to fight all in one go. And my god, did that crush me over and over and over again. It just ruined me. Like I couldn't do anything about it. It took me forever to beat, and once I did, I felt so good just to feel that trophy pop. But it took me a long while, and that's kind of a breakdown of the entire game. Is all those bosses, like the mainline bosses, are actually difficult. Like sure, you fight the same enemies as bosses over and over again in various missions. Like sure, there's points you made there about the overall game, but like, they're still challenging fights. And then clearing the open world when you're underleveled is just very difficult because of the damage output. Luckily, I did manage to do it, but it was not easy. by any means at all. It's probably the one of the hardest platinums I have. Another Trapped Treasure I would put directly into the mid category. I would say it's not as hard as platinum as any of these games. But it was another sort of like it was more for fun. It did drive me a little insane though. The parry was like the opposite. Like you had to pre-hit your parry and then release it. The parry. If you play the game, you know what I mean. But like I didn't like that. But like it wasn't that hard of a Souls. Like I like first or second tried almost every boss. I don't know why it's not fluctuating. It's just a very easier, much easier Souls like. Definitely an intro Souls like. If you're nervous about going straight into the challenge of like a Sekiro or Elden Ring. Hollow Knight, our next gonna be difficult. I think we all. I just have two words for you on why it's up here. Pantheon 5. Anyway, moving on to Ghost of Yotei. This game I would put. I played on lethal difficulty almost all the way through. I dropped it in the early phases because I kept dying. This one definitely goes in hard. It's just where. I don't think it's harder than God of War Ragnarok. God of War's plat. Yeah, I don't think it. It might be. I would probably just put it up here. Come on, please. Thank you. The story was definitely a massive step down in Ghost of Tsushima, but everyone's heard that about this game. Gameplay wise, though, it's really good, much better than Tsushima. But the plat once again, I played on Lethal. Takezo was a boss who kicked my ass multiple times for a while, especially that first fight with the spear. That ruined me. But the game itself, you play, it's not too bad. The side content's all pretty good. Pretty good, nothing too challenging. Other than Takezo, maybe if you find some of the mainline bosses difficult, which you have the argument for like the Oni and Saito, but like other than that, not too hard of a plat. And when it comes in comparison to other, it's like these games. Black Myth Wukong. This is a game that absolutely surprised me with how good it was. I would just say that. Like it was really good, really fun. Had set some good challenges. I definitely say it goes in the heart of category as well. I would say it's harder than Yotei because of like Erlang and the Sage's Broken Shell boss fights. I also remember fighting the Scorpion Lord on this boss, very underleveled, and it took me about 5 hours to kill him because he just kept one hitting me over and over again, and it drove me absolutely insane. But once you get past like those hard bosses and finally beat them, like the rest of the game is pretty fun, easy. Like, very cool, very unique bosses. I love this game so much. Also love the story, even though I understood about none of it. So it's basically like every other Souls game you play. But it was a great time. The cleanup stuff, like the RNG drops from like those plants that recharge every 30 minutes, was not that fun to do. But I got pretty good RNG and didn't have to do too many of those. So I can just put this game like it was kind of hard with those bosses. Actually, let me slide some stuff down. I'd say it's harder than that. Wukong, probably do that. Yeah, these are subject to change, but like this is roughly what they are, and if you want to grade them per row, as far as easy in this category, hardest in this category. God of War 3, I would put this in like a mid category. I the story actually think is pretty good. It's pretty good. It was pretty fun to play through. More have the hack and slash game and versus like the God of War 2018 God of War Ragnarok games, which are not as hack and slashy. But it was pretty fun. I had a good time playing the game. Platinuming it was all right. There was a couple challenging bits, but nothing insane. That's all I got about to say for that. And Infamous First Light is going into the simple category. It was like a very simple game, very short story, and you just play through the game. You clean up the collectibles. You would like your one or two remaining miscellaneous trophies, and you're done. It was very simple. Sword of the Sea is going in as another simple one. I played this just for fun because it looked very different compared to some of these other games I played, as I'm sure you've seen these kind of games I like to play. And it was a very nice and relaxing game to play. The worst part was just probably backtracking a little bit into levels for like the remaining collectibles. So, but overall, very simple game, very fun game, easy. Arkham Asylum would be probably the Arkham that goes in mid, probably like middle of mid, because it doesn't have 400 other trophies or it doesn't have ridiculous requirements on the combat challenges. It is just a great masterpiece of a game. and with some somewhat challenging combat maps, but they aren't even that bad because it all the combat's very simple in this game versus say Night where you have a bunch of different stuff going on. But still a great game. I had a blast playing. It's probably my first. It was my first Arkham game I played and absolutely loved. Wolong, this is a platinum I got very recently, in fact, and I was a little underwhelmed because I came, technically the last Teenage game I played before this was Rise of the Ronin, but this game just felt way too easy for a Souls-like, and also from a narrative perspective, I didn't understand any of the narrative at all. But I just know that this game's story or main missions just dragged on, and there was a lot of like battle flags and stuff you had to collect throughout the game. So basically, I would put this in the easy but grindy category because of all the various stuff you had to do, such as max leveling your weapons, raising all of your battle flags. Some you can miss pretty easily, and then overall, just one thing like what felt like 50 main battlefields, and that's not including sub battlefields that you had to clear. So it just took me a while, and there wasn't much challenge to it, so I had to put it in easy but grindy in my opinion. Last of Us Part 2, this is not the remaster, so there's no like daily run shenanigans going on here. This game, I think I could put pretty safely in like here maybe. I didn't do a grind playthrough. I tried, but I easily gave up on it. So if you want to use just pace from that, then it skyrockets up to here. I mean, I would have no, but I didn't do the grind run completely, so I don't feel comfortable playing there. Plus, the platinum doesn't need it. And since I'm mainly rating the platinums here, if I were talking about like what game I played that's objectively the best, this would look a lot different. So but in the terms of platinum, like this game is not that bad. I played on Survivor. That's the difficulty below grounded, and I would definitely say it's fairly difficult, but like it's not the most crazy thing I've ever done. Versus like Hollow Knight, Res and Arkham game stuff. So I would probably put it here. I mean, the worst part was backtracking in the missions, get collectibles and all that. That was the worst part. Because that's just you open a guide and just follow it for like 5 hours to clean up everything. But I wouldn't say it's that grindy because I already had most of them. Far Cry 3. This is my most recent platinum. It was just a game that I played, as I've always heard like Voss, is like a great character, and I can say that is true. Voss is a great character, but and during the games as a whole, like the gunplay felt a little off. Now because I had just age and you wouldn't be wrong, but it was mostly just a lot of just going around the map and just cleaning up anything you have to do. Luckily, you don't have to like 100% the game to do it, so it made a lot quicker experience. So I would put this as probably the top of simple. Like it's a very simple platinum to get, but I don't think it's that grindy because it's not full of like 50 or 60 areas you have to clear out. It's only like 30. And plus the story is pretty good. It was a good playthrough game. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I actually love the Tomb Raider games, which is why I'm so excited for the next two coming out this year in 27. I this game I remember really enjoying the story when I played through it. The hard difficulty was not that hard to get hard though. It was mostly just running around cleaning up all the collectibles and stuff. That was the big challenge, but I just once again I wouldn't say the game is kind of easy, so I'd probably put top of easy but grindy because it can have its moments, but like you almost always have all of the resources you need to succeed in this game. And like I said, there's just a bunch of lots of survivor caches and all that you have to look for. But I love the game story, and playing through it actually feels pretty good. I prefer it to Uncharted games. We have Resident. All right, next we have Resident Evil 4 remake. My my own. This is the only Resident Evil game I played, but I've watched all the other ones, and I absolutely love it. I think it's a great game. The one thing I would say against it is for the platinum, you need to do like 7 playthroughs of the game, and you technically could do professional plus, but like I didn't do that. But it's just the 7 playthroughs is just a little bad in my opinion. Like you played the game a little too much. That bunch just became autonomous. Like just run to here, progress through the chapters. Also, speedrun trophies are not my favorite thing. Luckily, they aren't too bad in this game at all. But I would say this game, I wouldn't say it as a hard platinum, but I would probably say it's I would say it goes about here. I love the story. I love the story. I love Leon, of course. I can't wait for him to RE9, like just over a month and a half from now, as of recording this. But I would say it's not that hard of a platinum. But it's just once again a very great. Nier Automata. All right, this game is probably gonna go in the bottom of hard because you could easily put this in grindy though because of how they had to farm up high levels, right? The final missions like a meal and whatnot. I did use the trophy shop in this game. I will confess to that, but it was only just to get like the grindy trophies out of the way. But I did most of the game, legit like all the side missions, obviously all the main story and stuff. And I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was a great game overall, which made the platinum still a little tedious to do. But like, I also did a bunch of the quests and stuff very underleveled, like that one. Whoever that Father Servo guy who's on the one building the main like area. I did his like final thing when I was like level 40 versus like level 60. So that made it a little challenging to do. I'd honestly be tempted to put this like in mid, but I think mid's a little too convoluted here that it means nothing. So I'd probably put it bottom of hard, especially if we do all the trophies without the trophy shop. So I think it was a pretty good game. I really liked Act 3 replay as A2 I think her name is. Because I think that's when like the story peaked. Uh but yeah, I mean game was a little challenging at some points, especially like underleveled bosses. Uh, a game that we're going to talk about that has a little difficult to is Wu Chang. I'll move Wu Chang up to here. This game, it was very controversial for me because at some point I was like, okay, this game's pretty good. Pretty good. Other times I was like, I absolutely hate this game. This game is so trash. And the most obvious reason for that is the level design, with it just being branching pathways. Like you hit a fork in the road, each fork in that road has another fork, and that's basically the level design going across like an entire like 50-hour game. And it was very annoying to find my way through it, especially on my first playthrough. I tried to get everything and I just couldn't. Uh, but when it came to the boss fights, there were some challenging ones in there, like Honglin, especially it's the second time you fight her was challenging. One of the demons that you can get by answering, I think it's the riddle wrong, and they had like every spell in the game that they were using against you. That took me forever to beat. And then the final boss that isn't Bo also takes me a while to beat because partially I blame that one though on an inflated health bar. But the game definitely presented its challenges to me. My favorite boss in the game was probably the one you get in the bottom of Cloud Spire's like hole in the ground. I forget what the Fang thing it might be. I think that's a really good boss fight, especially because I tried to make use of parrying as much as I can, even though that wasn't the biggest mechanic in this game. I also did not enjoy going through New Game Pluses because to get all of the endings because that just made it very tedious and annoying. And obviously that made the encounter stuff or took maybe spend a lot more time fighting the bosses. Like I don't think too many bosses in this game are easy. So I'd say it's bottom of hard, high, mid tier platinum because you had to do like the 4 playthroughs of the game, get all the collectibles and stuff, and that can bring some challenges. Ghost of Tsushima, I speak previously that I think Nair is much better than Yote in Tsushima, but the gameplay is better than Yote, and that's the most common consensus. When it comes to platinums, though, I would definitely say Ghost of Tsushima falls into. I played this game on lethal as well. I would probably say this falls into mid. Yeah, I'd probably put it above the Doom games. I'd say it's here. Maybe Asylum needs to go down a peg because I don't remember it being. I heard of a plat that goes to Tsushima. But I would not say Plat's hard. Like once again, it's a pretty fun game to play. It's just I think there's too many Fox dens, which is why I'm just putting easy but grindy. But there's a lot of extra stuff to do. I'm glad they toned it down to Yostiote. It made like the cleanup open world much simpler. So I'd probably say it's a mid tier platinum. And here we're gonna end with Liza P here. I'm just gonna put this up here because I did overture this in 2025. And Arlecchino, let's just say he's the hardest boss I fought. And yeah, 5.5 hours straight of fighting Arlecchino kind of broke something in me that it has not been fixed. And then and overall in the game itself, there is a lot to do for the platinum, especially when you want to do it in like 2 playthroughs, not to worry about anything the second playthrough, because you have to get like all the collectibles, all the cryptic vessels, Chris, all the quests, and don't miss out on them. It was then I don't worry about the big checklist of humanity stuff you have to do to get the best ending. Like that was all rough. Then also the bosses themselves were just very challenging. Obviously, the most obvious ones would be, like I said, named Arlecchino, Laxatia, Nameless Puppet. You can do BRB2 or BRB1, but I actually like BRB1. So, about like BRB2, all those bosses are actually really tough for me to get through. Like multiple hours on each of them, and but it still is like one of my favorite games of all time though because it's so good. I love the parrying. I love the parrying in this game more than Sekiro. I can't put my finger on why, but I just do. I would say it's probably the hardest platinum. You could argue Hollow Knight takes it with Pantheon 5, but like I still think overall I had a hard time Lies of peeking through everything. On the platinum was just like I said, very fun. But this is just me ranking all of my platinums I've done from I think the freest and easiest ones to from the grindy ones all the way up to the hardest ones. And this is my 50 platinums that I have so far. Honestly, I don't plan on stopping the platinums, but just thought I'd take a second and rank them out, see what I've actually done, what I think is the hardest platinums.